Hey everyone, thank you for joining me for another video. This is news hot off the press. Could have seen it coming long before now, but now it seems to be more official since the news media is picking up on it. I am, of course, speaking about more food rationings here in the UK. But before I get into that, let me ask you, what's happening in your country, wherever it is that you live? Are you finding the same issues? I'm following a few other preppers, a few other people through Instagram, through YouTube and other social media platforms, and even within a week or two ago they already noticed the massive difference to the lack of tomatoes and certain fruits and vegetables, and it seems now we have an official answer to it. What about where you are? Is it the same? Leave your comments in the sections below because I'm going to be picking this up more and more. But while I get ready to start, hit that like button, give me a thumbs up and share. Who else needs to hear it out there? You know what to do. Let's get started. Okay, so I have the news article here on the mobile phone. It's basically saying that supermarkets, Tesco and Aldi, are to ration some vegetables due to supply shortages. They are also joining Morrisons and Asda in announcing limits on how many items some vegetables and fruits can go to customers who are in to buy them. Now, we already noticed shortages already. Even here where I live, there's been shortages of eggs. So there's been a lot of rationing of eggs, and we know really what's going on in the background if you've been looking up some of the farmers posting their videos online, showing you the mountain of eggs behind them. And the reason that there's a shortage is because the supermarkets are refusing to pay the higher price that the farmers have to impose due to high energy costs and any other reason, but instead they want to keep the farmers down, paying the low price, while they are in fact continuing right now to charge us the higher price using inflation as the reason. So all that's doing is making a bigger profit for themselves. Now with these other supermarkets now rationing further vegetables and fruits, I'll continue to read the report here. It follows measures introduced by Morrisons and Asda on Tuesday to temporarily limit the purchase of some fruit and vegetables. An Aldi spokesperson said, "We are limiting purchases of peppers, cucumbers and tomatoes to 3 units per person to ensure that as many customers as possible can buy what they need." Asda has limited the purchase of tomatoes, peppers, cucumbers, lettuce, salad bags, broccoli, cauliflower and raspberries to 3 per customer. A spokesperson for Asda said, "Like other supermarkets, we are experiencing sourcing challenges on some products that are grown in southern Spain and North Africa." Meanwhile, Morrison said customers can purchase 2 items each of tomatoes, lettuce, cucumbers and peppers. So it seems to be different rationing numbers depending on where you go. Other supermarkets are understood to be considering similar limits. Well, let's face it, if you're getting some of the biggest suppliers in the UK, I'd imagine everyone else will follow suit. The British Retail Consortium said poor weather in southern Europe and northern Africa has disrupted crops including tomatoes and peppers. Growers in Morocco have struggled with low temperatures, flooding and heavy rain, which also resulted in ferry cancellations and further delays in the supply chain. Meanwhile, Spanish crops have been hit with bad weather in the past 3 to 4 weeks. Britain typically imports 95% of its tomatoes and 90% of lettuces from December to March, according to the consortium. Supplies of British-grown vegetables have also been rationed, however, as farmers struggle with high energy costs. So it's not just the tomatoes and your broccolis and cauliflowers, salads and peppers and all that that's coming from Spain and North Africa due to bad weather that's either destroying the crops straight away, or it's the fact the crops that they are having are getting delayed and the ferries due to bad weather again. What about our own produce here in the UK? Well, like it says, it's been rationed here as well, even with our own produce, because farmers are struggling with high energy costs. The availability of fruit and vegetables grown in heated and covered buildings in the UK, including cucumbers and tomatoes, has fallen in recent months, according to the National Farmers Union. It also said vegetables grown in fields such as cauliflowers, potatoes, and purple sprouted broccoli may also be impacted. That's more or less what it's saying there. Now, my question is then, if it's not just the stuff we're importing in, but even our own stuff, and it's not the climate change issue here, but the high energy costs instead. I mean, this is something I just popped up on my newsfeed on Facebook earlier. Look at the difference in price for us here in the UK when it comes to heating our own houses. I mean, whatever the bills are for the farmers as well, but yet the rich are still getting richer who have got their fingers in certain pies there. Now, I'm going to speak more on this. These are little snippets of videos I'm putting out. Um, and what I want to do is I want to go live. I want to cover it all in detail where I'm not getting short. I not have to do much editing. I'm just going to be myself, get it out there, read some of the comments coming in, keep it feeding and see where it's going. But I tell you, friends, I'm not surprised. I'd done a video a couple of years ago when we were all locked up and we had all the biblical proportions happening all at once, not just with you know what happening, you have to watch what we say, but also the fact that all your crops were getting completely gone because of the invasion of record-breaking amount of locusts in different countries, going from North Africa even to South America in different parts. But yet 2 years passed and we never saw much of the issues where that would have affected the supply chain. We never had issues of supply chain that I can recall where I lived in Scotland during those 2 years when everyone was locked up. So the supply chain was still happening. The locusts didn't seem to cause enough damage because 2 years later we've had a couple of harvests, no problems. But then last year as well, certain news reports, whether it's fear mongering, whether it's true, whether it's panic and fueling the frenzies, who knows? Most people I still think are quite laid back about it all. It's the case when it changes right away for the clear, noticeable change that people just panic. They go from calm, yeah, whatever, to panic. And we saw that before the first lockdown when it came to panic buying in every single nation. Now, with high energy costs still running, there's a lot more going on in the background with that. It's going back a lot of ways of what they're trying to implement and with changes. And the best way to control that nation, as the communists would try, is when you start owning the banks, owning the central system, owning the media, owning everything that basically is the power of the land. I'm getting more into that with the books that I'm reading, but the other way is to make sure you have the food over the people. That's all we need is the food and water for survival. And when you're controlling all that and merging people, herding us towards digital currency, heading us towards 15-minute cities, it's all happening in the UK as well. Going to get more into all that in my own research too. I know other people are doing it, but even still, with all these crazy things going on, many of you on this channel follow me for good reason with Garabandal, Medjugorje, Fatima, Kita. This is all happening still, not because of just a chaos to follow here and there. I'm fed up with these preppers that just look for the next news article, put it on YouTube and all the rest of it. It's a bigger context of what's going on, and that's the difference with here in this channel. It all fits in the time of what's happening in these times. And I've repeated it many times. I'm going to keep repeating it because eventually light bulb's going to click for people. And for tens and hundreds of millions of people, it already is. And the only thing I'll say on this subject, if you haven't already had the common sense to be starting to stockpile some extra bits of food, even a year ago, Walmart were telling people in America, don't panic buy, just take a little extra now, add it up, then the same next week, then the next grocery shop. And by the time things start to get harder, you're going to have enough to avoid the panic buying. How many people have done that in the past year? Because I tell you, 6 months ago, I was starting to do a big bulk buying while trying to get ready for a wedding and prepare all the financial sides and everything logistically with that. I was still trying to get a little bit of my savings to get more things in just in case it all hits the fan. And even 6 months ago to now, if I had to buy the exact same amount of stuff, I'm talking 2, 3 times the price of what I've already paid, and that was just 6 months ago. You've still got time now to get extra in while you can. Long life stuff, tins and all that, whatever you can find right now in the supermarkets. I know there's a lot of prepper stuff out there, and it goes to another level when we're speaking about long life stuff. But if you aren't doing the basic thing of going to the groceries shop, getting your normal amount and having a little extra that can last a couple of years at least, rices, pastas, tins, meats, whatever, just get stuff even you wouldn't normally buy. That's what I've been doing recently, and it adds up quickly. Yes, the money adds up too, but it's going to be more expensive. It's going to be more scarce probably in the coming months and year ahead, because this isn't going away anytime soon. Russia, Ukraine, everything with NATO. Biden was just over yesterday in Ukraine. Going to cover all that as well. This is the long haul, and it's going to get harder and harder as we come up to the great reset of 2030. It's all orchestrated. I completely believe it. And at the same time, this in the world, the parallel that's coming with it that we've been prepared for, we know all this is coming to the climax of the illumination of conscience, of the point where God intervenes. I'm cutting it short, but if this is the first time you've been tuning into my videos, watch the apparitions, the Marian apparitions playlist. I'll leave a bit up here for you. Go through them in chronological order. Keep watching the future ones I'm doing, and you tell me you can't see this all adding up. But until then, folks, like I say, quick one out there, let you know the news article. Be smart, have some common sense, don't wait. Start doing it calmly now, and you won't regret it, I promise. Until then, hit the subscribe button, give me the thumbs up, and I'll see you live very soon.